Welcome to the Manders Mindset Podcast. Here you'll find both monologue and interviews of entrepreneurs, coaches, healers, and a variety of other people, where your host Amanda Russo will discuss her own mindset and perspective and her guest mindset and perspective on the world around us. Manders and her guests will help explain to you how shifting your mindset will shift your life.
Welcome to Mando's Mindset, where we explore the power of shifting your mindset to shift your life. I'm your host, Amanda Russo, and I am so excited for today's guest. I am here with Zulma Williams, and she is a licensed clinical social worker, and she's known as the swearing therapist. And you will understand why as we get chatting. I thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Amanda.
So who would you say Zulma is at the core?
Zulma is a warrior. Zulma is someone who doesn't give up no matter what life presents and keeps pushing through the challenges and wants to inspire others to do this.
Have you always embodied that and embodied wanting to inspire others?
No, not necessarily. So I guess that I did things that were inspiring to others, but I was like, and that's what I did, right? Like moving from Argentina to America, for example. I was 31 when I moved, and people were like, oh, that is so courageous. And I was like, oh, yes. To me, the real courageous people are the ones who remain in Argentina because they're suffering a lot more than me adapting to a new culture, right? So I guess that was inspiring, but it wasn't like, oh, I want to inspire you. It's like, that's what the fuck I did, basically. So
can you take us down memory lane a little bit? Tell us about your childhood, family dynamic, upbringing, however deep you want to take that, but lay the foundation a little bit.
Of course. So I was born and raised in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and the baby of 4. My older brother is 10 years older than me. Then I had another brother who I never met because he passed away when he was a baby. And then my sister, she's 7 years older than me, although she says that she's younger than me. And then the baby, like, surprise, like I was not, like, what was I? Hello, what? Here I am. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. And my dad was the one working and providing something that was very normal, if you would, at that time in that society. And then my dad left when I was 8. Divorce was not legal in Argentina at that time. So they couldn't remarry even if they met someone else. But my dad left and I was seeing him every other weekend. And it became a very enmeshed relationship with my mom because my siblings were already teenagers, right? My brother was 18, my sister was 15, and they were doing their own thing. And it just became my mom. And I was like, oh, I'm mom's best friend, right? And then it translated in a lot of unresolved trauma growing up because I was like, oh, I felt responsible for her happiness. And it took me a lot of fucking therapy to realize that it wasn't my responsibility. But at the time, that's how I felt. Then I continued to grow, graduated high school. I went to the university there. Here is called an optometrist. That's what I went to school for over there. And then I graduated and I couldn't find a job doing that. So I ended up being a proofreader. And because I'm good with grammar and spelling, like if you miss a spelling, what's good, like having a fucking red light flashing, right? Like, this is my spell, which is a blessing at first because like I cannot read a newspaper or a magazine or it's like, I'm like, these motherfuckers, they need a proofreader, like so. And then fast forward until I'm 31 and I had a captain. So it was an age dream that I had to move to America. And because of the movies and Like everything seemed like so perfect. And I was like, I fucking want that, right? Like, so I always had it in the back of my mind. And also I wanted to study psychology when I was there. But my mom had bad experiences with psychologists and therapists. So she said, if you can, but I'm not going to support you. And at that time, going to school, I didn't have a job. So I was like, okay, fucking optometry it is. I had this dream that I wanted to move to America. And then a cousin of mine, which we were like, he probably was a year older than me. He had a stroke and died, like completely unexpectedly. Like he was in class, and I was like, oh shit! Like because I thought I had my entire life in front of me. I have time, and then I realized I don't have time. Like nobody has tomorrow guaranteed. And I went to my therapist at the time, and I said, I'm going to America in December. This was about August. I will say July, August.
And you were going to America 3 months later?
Yes, ma'am. So at the time, I was living with my mom because I didn't have a job. I didn't have a boyfriend or a husband. I didn't have children. So when you have nothing, you really have nothing to lose. So it was an adventure coming here. And my mom said, if it doesn't work out, you always have your place here. So I came. My dad was not happy that I was, what are you going to do? And, like, but it was, I'm 31 and I'm still living with my mom. And it's not because I didn't want to work. It's because the socioeconomic situation in the country, and 30 years later, it's the same shit. Like I was there in March, and it's like they are dealing with the same issues from 30 years ago. So, and that's what I move away from, right? Like, it's like, it has to be something that is more organized, that is not as corrupt. Because I always say, I didn't become hardworking when I moved to America. I already had my work ethic. But if I don't have a fucking job, how can I show you what my work ethic is, right? So I moved here in December of 1996, step out of the plane, and it's like, I'm fucking stepping into winter wonderland, right? Like it's like, oh, like the fucking movies, all the Christmas things and reality set up perfectly. But at the time that we stepped out of the movies, and I had an uncle and his family living in California. So that's where I went. And I was living with them for a couple of weeks until I found, my uncle found a place where I could move in and be a roommate to another family. And it was funny because I'm walking, right? I'm venturing out, walking, exploring the neighborhood. I couldn't cross the street because the fucking light was never, because I didn't know you had to push it. So because I jaywalked basically, like I almost caused an accident because I'm like, go home, like, So I fucking dart across the street, and then we're having dinner and I say it, and then my cousins, because they are about my age, they were like, oh, you need to push the button. Yeah, motherfuckers, like, how the fuck am I supposed to know? So, but they had been here for about 10 years. And it crossed nobody's mind to tell me, right, that you push the button to cross the street. So that situation, so I started working with my uncle. He had a Mexican bakery. Yeah.
When you came to America, did you come by yourself, completely by yourself?
Yes.
Okay. But you knew some people in America.
But
you said
my uncle.
Your uncle.
My uncle and his family.
Okay.
Right. But then that quickly turned into a nightmare because now this is 1996. There is no email. There is no, like, I wrote letters. It takes a month to get there, a month to get back. And I was buying a calling card from him, from his business. but I was paying. I was grabbing the $5 calling card and I was paying for it. But he started trying to control who I was calling, who I was talking to. Why do I need stamps? Like who I'm writing letters to. And I'm like, okay, I'm fucking 31 years old. And because he tried to control his children and he couldn't. So here I come, brand new to the culture here, because they've been here, I don't remember, but let's say 10 years or 15, something like that. But your parents and your siblings, and it's like, it was a good intention. It was, don't be with one foot here and one foot there. But the manner that it was imposed on me, I'm like, then this is not going to work out. So my dad was born in Syria and he went to Argentina when he was 18. So I didn't know any of my family from my dad's side because they were all in Syria. One of my cousins called my dad and said, Uncle, I'm in America. And my dad said, oh, my daughter is too. Where are you? In California. So I met my cousin on my dad's side. He didn't speak Spanish and I didn't speak Arabic. And we barely fucking spoke basic English. So it was a lot of fucking pointing, and I moved with him to another part of California, which was Playa del Rey. I worked 2 blocks from the beach. So every day I would go after work to watch the sunset and then go home, which was wonderful. And I I was going to school when I first came to learn English because I knew how to write and read, but I didn't know how to communicate verbally. And then I went to school to learn English as a second language, and it was kind of like the same thing. Like there was kind of like 20 of us in the classroom, so it was very hard to practice it. And it was a Hispanic neighborhood. So then I moved to Playa del Rey, more American, if you would. I fucking learned English really quick because I had to, right? My first thing was more slowly, please, because we have a tendency to speak very fast in our first language. And I didn't understand what these motherfuckers were saying. And I work in a laundromat, the one that you drop the clothes and then you can pick them up. And I was like, motherfucker, slow down. Oh, the fucking shirt is going to have starch how I want it.
Where were you? In what state were you working at this laundromat?
In California.
Okay.
I was in Playa del Rey, which is very close to LAX. And so I was flirting with the clients, right? And I told a guy, I'm easy. And he burst out laughing. And he said, I know what you mean, but the way to say it is, I'm easy going. Bless his heart. So for teaching me the right way to say it. And then I started working doing different jobs, and I learned I was working in the dry cleaners. And then those dry cleaners were expanding into Nevada, and they sent another person to see if we liked it, because they wanted to expand the concept here. And they sent us in April. And we were like, oh, yeah, it's a little windy, but it's okay. So we said yes, and we moved in May, and then it was like 115 degrees. That was really bad. So that's how I ended up in Nevada. And then I started working in an office setting. I'm 42. I'm working for the accounting department in a big corporation. And I started kind of thinking about my future. And I was like, I'm not sure I want to be doing this for another 25 years. So I enrolled myself in school on my bachelor's of social work, right? I always had this passion for helping others. And I want the listeners I want to emphasize that if you want to build something new, you can still be doing what you are doing and build that in parallel. So I didn't leave my job. I was still doing accounting full time, and I enroll in school full time. So while I'm doing what I'm doing, because I still need to pay the rent, I'm building a different future.
Did you have any hesitations about going and getting your bachelor's at 42?
I was terrified because I didn't go to school here. I did high school in Argentina. And it was a lot easier to get a GED here than trying to, translate everything to make it valid here. So I just took a GED. And so I remember my first class, I was like so afraid to participate. And I was very self-conscious about my accent and English not being my first language and all those things. And I remember going to talk to my biology professor, and I said, I want to participate, but I'm scared of pronouncing the word the wrong way. And he was an asshole as a professor, but in that meeting, he was very supportive, and he pulled out a book and he said, how do you say this? And how do you say this? And then she was like, that is perfect. I don't want you to not participate. And that gave me a lot of confidence. And then I was going to the writing lab like there was nobody's business, because I was like, I want to do it right the first time. The school provided these services, so why not? I graduated at 46. I graduated in December, and I was going to start my master's in August of the following year. And then 6 weeks later, I got diagnosed with breast cancer. So surprise, I wanted to be independently licensed by age 50, which if I would have started my master's then, it would have put me right on track. And I made a choice to take care of my health. So I had surgery and radiation here, and I decided to move back to Argentina to be closer to my family. And
when did you move back to Argentina?
In June of 2012. So I graduated in December of 2011. I had my surgery in April, and then I moved back in June of 2012. So I continued my treatment there. And a year and a half after I moved, my mom passed away unexpectedly of a heart attack. So it was like, when I look back, it's like, yes, I did go there because of my cancer diagnosis and wanted to be close to my family. But I think that the bigger picture of me going back there was so that my mom could see me that I was doing well. Okay, I don't have children, but I presume as a mom, like I tell you, oh no, I'm doing okay. And then I hang up the phone and you're like, no, you're not, right? Like you're still worried. But she got to see me that I was doing well and I was responding to the treatment well. So I think that she transitioned in peace because I was there. And she got to see me that I was doing well. So she passed away. And I'm like, a year later, a year after she passed, I was like, like, I think I'm going to go back to the States. I wanted to celebrate my 50th birthday here, which was in 2015. So because of the health system in Argentina, you get appointments like three months in advance, right? And so I had appointments until the end of April. And I made the decision to come back, let's say, in January. But it was like, I had to wait. Like, I didn't want to miss my appointments because I didn't know how long it was going to take me to reestablish care once I came back. So I'm like, I wanted to get until the last appointment, and that will buy me some time, right? When I come back to the States. So I was praying about it. What the fuck you asked for? So out of nowhere, I get an email from University of Nevada, Las Vegas. That's where I graduated with my bachelor's. So they send the email to my personal email. And they were like, oh, we have the advanced Master of Social Work program back. Do you want to enroll? I was like, I put aside and God gave me a banner, right? Like, I was like, yes, I want to enroll. That kind of like confirmed that was the right decision to make. I moved here in May, celebrated my birthday in June, and I graduated a year later with my master's. And I started my internship, and I became independently licensed at 53 and a half. So my goal was to become independently licensed at 50, and it was delayed by 3.5 years. Why the fuck do I care? I'm already old anyway, right? If anything, so when I hear people telling me, like, oh, I'm too old to go back to, bitch, I started in 42. I had my master's at 50, and English is not my first language. Like, you are barking at the wrong tree. Sorry.
So I'm curious, what encouraged you to still do it? You mentioned you were afraid to participate and speak up, but you spoke to that professor. And how did that get you to now you're going to speak up?
So cancer came to rearrange my priorities and teach me to put myself first, right? That was my first class in college, right? And as I continued to participate in class and doing well in school and all that, my confidence about participating grew. But when I was diagnosed with cancer, I was, believe it or not, a recovered people pleaser, right? Like I was like, oh, I don't want to offend you, not anymore. But like, I don't give a shit now. But cancer came to rearrange my priorities. So I put myself first. And going for my master's, and if anything, cancer came to show me how bad I wanted to be a therapist, because it didn't stop me. At the beginning of my treatment, the treatment is so intensive, right? Like you go to the hospital and the doctor like several times a month and whatever. And then eventually it starts like, oh, it's once a month or once every 3 months or once every 6 months. So it becomes more manageable. And I was like, I feel well enough to be working. I can do this. I can go back to school. So I went back to school. Now, mind you, I'm 50 and my classmates are 25. Like I'm the fucking mom in the classroom, right? And there was like one time there was two girls in front of me. One was 23 and one was 27. And I said, bitches, it takes the two of you to be my age. Like I have to put two of you together, you know? But if anything, being around the young people kept me young, because like they were teaching me about fucking Instagram and social media. Like, what the fuck do I know? And they're telling me what to do, how to do it, blah, blah, blah. Bringing my life experience to the classroom, right? Like, because shit that we were reading in the textbook, I had experience myself, right? Like, so it was like, I was so focused on what I wanted to do, which was to be a therapist. And when I graduated and then I started my internship, and when you are an intern, you provide services to whomever the fuck was through the door. So I was doing families and couples and children and teenagers and adults. I will say something to a mom, for example, give her suggestions about a parenting tip or whatever, and they will take it. Then there was another intern who was probably 25, but she looks 13. The clients will question her, do you have children? Nobody ever questioned me. If you asked me if I had children, I would have told you the truth. But because I was already old, they assumed that I had children. So I'm the mother of the year, like, you know, but because she was so young and she looked even younger, people will question her. They didn't question me. So being a therapist at my age gave me a confidence transmitted a confidence to the clients that I knew what I was talking about, because you assume that, oh, I'm fucking all that I know, right? Like, so it helped me connect. So now I work with adults only. It helped me connect with this population, because it's like, you know what? Life is too short. I don't have time to be sugarcoating shit. That's why I'm the starting therapist. I'm like, I'm gonna tell you how I see it, not necessarily the truth, but I'm gonna tell you how I see it. And then if you want to get better, we're gonna hit the ground running.
What would you say was the most difficult part of your breast cancer diagnosis?
So I discovered a lump on my right breast, and I had a mammogram, and then I was sent to a doctor, and then I was sent to a surgeon. He had no bedside manners. So I'm in fucking right, like, I'm like, he was doing an ultrasound, and he said, I don't like what I see. I want to do a biopsy. I was like, okay, let's do the fucking biopsy. So then he did the biopsy, and I had to wait for the result. And I was doing research in different forums of women who were going through this. And one of the things was like, okay, if it is cancer, you ask these questions. If it is not cancer, you ask these questions, and make sure that you bring a friend, because if it is cancer, you are not going to remember anything after them. That was all on the forums, right? Like, so I brought a friend. Here are the questions if it's cancer. Here are the questions if it's not cancer. And I'm sitting on the table, and he's not even making eye contact. Like, he's over here looking at the fucking computer or whatever that he was doing. And he was like, yeah, I'm right. You do have cancer. That's how I found out about the diagnosis. So then my friend took over, because I really don't remember anything after that. But the lack of bedside manners. So, and I think that is because he had been a surgeon, a breast surgeon for many years. He was an older guy. And I think that he was so used to giving this news that he didn't realize that this is life changing to me. And I think that not having that compassion. Now, I'm glad he was such an asshole, because he helped me appreciate my oncologist is a sweetheart. So it's like, it gives you a different perspective. But I think that the worst thing was how the news were delivered. And I hope if anybody is a breast surgeon that they are listening, to understand that it's like, you might deal with this shit on a daily basis, but to the patient, these are news that change this person's life. So that was the most difficult thing, because then, okay, so I have cancer. So what is the plan? What are my options? Blah, 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 which was the questions that my friend asked, because I didn't have the capacity. And then after that, to learn to ask for what I needed. People around the patient, I lost a lot of friends because of the diagnosis, simply because they didn't know how to fucking be there for me. But also, looking back, I had to learn to ask for what I needed. So, because you don't know how to fucking help me. But if I give you a couple of suggestions, then you can grab them and help me, right? Like, so at the time, I didn't want to talk to nobody. I did tell my family and a couple of close friends, but the rest of the people. So I sent a massive email saying, I have this news. I've been diagnosed with breast cancer. I don't feel like talking right now, but I will appreciate an email. And then people emailed me back, and then I read it in my own time. trying, like I cry a lot, but I wanted to cry in my own time, in my own way. Like I don't want your pity. I wanted you to be there for me. And another thing that I realized is people were very careful about what they were talking to me about. And cancer became the main thing, but I'm still a person. Cancer is one part, like I have cancer. And that's why I say I had cancer. Cancer didn't have me. Because I wanted to, like I had a friend, she was talking to another friend. I didn't want to tell Zulma that I got in a fight with my boyfriend because of what she's going through. And I'm like, no, I want you to tell me that you got in a fight with your boyfriend because it brings me a sense of normalcy. I'm still Zulma. I'm not the cancer. But it's like everybody's like walking around with like on eggshells because I have cancer. And I'm like, I'm the same fucking bitch I was before the diagnosis. Like, and I didn't want to be cancer to be the center of the conversation. And I understand it is difficult for people because they want to know how are you feeling and what is the plan and when are you going to the doctor and all those things. But I have to talk to the doctors and the tech and everybody about my diagnosis for my medical care. The last thing I want to do is go out to dinner with you and talk about my cancer diagnosis. So tell me about the asshole that he was disrespectful and you got him fight with. You know what I mean? Like, it brings me back to the normalcy that I was missing because my entire life was upside. So those things kind of like were difficult, but then, I found a way around them. But the way that the diagnosis was delivered and then learning to ask for what I needed. What do I want from you? Now, if you don't give it to me or you don't have the capacity to give it to me, that's fine. But it's like you cannot say, I didn't know, because I'm asking what I need at the time.
No, that makes a lot of sense. That sucks that you had that experience with how it was delivered to you. But I really like how you mentioned you had the perspective of really appreciating, I think you said you're an oncologist.
Because yes. And also I realized that I learned to not make a person. The surgeon is a fucking asshole who has no bedside manners. That has nothing to do with me. If it was you were the patient, he would have done it to you. If Mary was the patient, he would have done it to Mary. Because my cancer stage was 2A. So there is and I learned a lot about breast cancer, because I thought I was going to fucking die the next day. Here I am 13 years later, right? Like, spoiler alert, I survived. But if my stage was 2A, which is kind of like in the middle. So I was going to die tomorrow. And maybe it didn't make it so attractive to him because it wasn't a challenging case. Sorry to fucking disappoint you that I'm not going to die tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you take your car to a mechanic and they don't want to do the oil change. That's too easy. Like, they want to get into the nitty gritty of what the fuck is wrong with the car. Sorry, I'm a fucking oil change for your ass. You know what I mean? Like, I think that doctors need to relearn these things because you are delivering life-changing news.
Yeah. To have some sort of like how you're delivering the information.
Absolutely.
No, that's completely true.
I'm not fucking taking it. You know what I mean? Like, fuck you, man. That's why I hope that he's retired, because I'm like, I hope this motherfucker, he was old at that time. Now, 13 years later, he's older. Like, go to Mexico and enjoy your vacation. Enjoy your retirement.
I love the perspective, though. It helps you appreciate somebody else, like in that similar, like the oncologist, you know? That's a really great way to look at it.
It's kind of like when you have that boyfriend who was an asshole and a cheater and didn't communicate, and then you meet this new person who doesn't cheat and is not an asshole, and you're like, this is basic stuff. Yeah, no, but you don't know what I've been through. Like, so I do appreciate it, right? Like, you opened the door for me. Like, and because I will tell my oncologist, I'm like, oh my God, you're such a sweetheart. And he is so sweet. And I told him several times, and I'm like, you don't realize how it helped me as a patient when you explain to me, because you know about cancer, but this is my body, right? Like, I was I am a very active part of my medical treatment. I don't fucking do it because you're the doctor and you said so. I'm going to ask questions. Like when I was in Argentina, they want to do chemo. And I said, what is the percentage of of success? And they were 50-50. I said, oh, hell to the no. You got to give me 820. Like you're not going to poison my entire body for 50% chance that a cancer cell was missed. And no, it's like you're bombing the entire house to kill the mouse, and the mouse already fucking left. I said, I'll sign whatever the fuck you want me to sign. Like, I'm not going to sue you if the cancer comes back. And making an informed decision. I'm saying you got to give me 80-20, 70-30 of why you are recommending this, not 50-50. So I had to meet with the attorneys over there to sign that I'm not going to fucking sue the hospital. And
did you not do radiation?
I did radiation. I didn't do chemo.
Okay.
So I did a different type of chemo, but not the chemo that makes you so sick.
Okay.
It's the first line of treatment. And by no means I'm making medical recommendations. Like whomever is listening and going through this, discuss it with your doctor. But I made my research and I'm like, wait a minute. Why are we doing this? As a preventive manner, it is too aggressive for my entire body. So I met with it, and I risk being not taken as a patient because I'm not following the hospital protocol. And I'm like, yeah, but you know what? This is my fucking body. So the oncologist over there was a woman, and she said, if it was me, I will do it. And I said, with all due respect, doctor, it's not you. This is my body. So, bitch, when you get breast cancer, you make your own decision, basically. Right? I didn't say that part. But it's like, and I know that it came with the best intentions, but it's like, no. So then they come up with an alternative plan that it wasn't so aggressive. Oh, see? That there are other fucking ways of preventing things.
I'm curious what this alternative way, or if you're willing to share.
Chemo too, but it was a different type of chemo. It was 18 applications. It made me very tired, but it didn't make me so sick as the other one. It wasn't as aggressive. It gave me early osteoporosis because I was induced into menopause early. I was 46 at the time of my diagnosis. So in order to do this treatment, I had to be induced. This treatment was for post-menopausal women. And I still had my period at the time. And they said, we can induce the menopause chemically. So I get a shot every month so that my period wouldn't come, right? Girlfriend, I was in fucking paradise. Like, this year, this shit, like a PMS. So I got my shot every month. But then one of the big side effects of the treatment was that I was going to develop osteoporosis early. Basically, I had the bones of a 75-year-old at 46. But guess what? I'm not into fucking sports, extreme sports, or running a marathon. I don't give a shit. So we found an alternative treatment that worked for me. Who has the fucking cancer? Did. So it needs to work for me, not the cookie cutter treatment. And again, I encourage anybody who's going through any medical diagnosis to do their research. Inform yourself. Ask questions. And I'm asking the questions. And that's why I love my oncologist because he took the time, like if he will suggest something, he sat down with me and he explained why. When COVID hit, he suggested that I take the shot, right? Again, it was against the COVID vaccine. And then I started reflecting and I said, bitch, if you trust him with your life for the kids, and mind you, like he had gotten the shot and his wife got the shot and he brought his mom from California to Nevada to get the shot, right? So it's not like he's telling me something he's not willing to do. Bitch, you're trusting him with your cancer. You're trusting him with your life for the cancer. Like you get to pick and choose what he's good at. So I got the shot. And I told him, I said, I was resistant, but then I started thinking, like, I'm trusting you with my life for my cancer diagnosis. Why the fuck wouldn't I trust you with, what you're suggesting for COVID? So, like a lot of self-reflection, but also a lot of like inform yourself so that you can ask questions and then make an informed decision.
No, that makes so much sense. I want to transition a tad. You call your therapy services Dragonfly Therapy. And I'm so curious where you came up with that name.
Absolutely. So dragonflies represent the change that comes from the inside. So dragonflies fly across the water and they eat the bacteria that is on the surface so that the light can come into the ocean. So that's how I came up with it, because of the symbolic meaning of dragonflies.
That's beautiful. They can change. Love that. Oh, okay. Wow.
Because therapy is the work that you do to improve yourself, right? You need to change from the inside. I barely know what the fuck to do with my life, let alone tell you what to do with yours. Like, if you're coming to therapy for that, like, girl, that's not what therapy is for.
So what would you say therapy is for? What is therapy?
For you to discover your own answers. We are going to discover the answers for you together. You don't have to do it alone, though. But I don't have the answers. We are going to discover the answers together. Because this is your life. Again, like with the oncologist that said, oh, I will do it. And I said, yeah, but it's my body. I know about therapy, but you are the expert in your own life. So it's like we work together. I say my job as a therapist is to provide you with a different perspective, because when you are in the picture, you cannot see the picture.
Love that comment. When you were in the, can you say that?
In the picture, you cannot see the picture. So you're telling me something, I'm listening, and I'll provide a different perspective because I'm not in the picture. And I'll give it back to you and say, like, oh, have you considered blah, blah, blah? You're like, oh, no, I didn't see it that way. That's why you pay the big bucks. Right? So, but we work together. You are the driver and I'm the passenger. I'm kind of like the GPS. But if you don't turn on the ignition, we're not fucking going anywhere because I'm not driving. You are. So if you don't want to move, we're fucking sitting in the car. Nice chatting with you, So, like, I illustrate this also, like, if you want to build a new home, you go to Home Depot or Lowe's and you buy the materials, you buy the tools, like, you buy all that, you start building your new home. You want to build a different life, a new life. I'll take you on a shopping spree and show you the tools and show you how to use them. So you want to hang a picture, I'll show you what a hammer is, what a nail is, and I'll show you how to do it. But I don't do it for you, because next time you need to hang a picture, you're going to fucking call me. So I'll show you the tools and I'll show you how to use them. But if you want to hang the picture, you have to do it yourself. And you don't have to bring the camera in your purse everywhere you go. You keep it in the garage. You know what it's at and you know what it's for. No, here is a bench, and this is how you use it. But you do it. That's why it's personal work, because I don't just sit on my chair and give suggestions, but you had the real therapy happens in between the sessions, not in my office. When you take these suggestions and you apply them in everyday life, when that motherfucker is upsetting you and you're like, taking that deep breath, taking a step back, analyzing if this is personal, right? Which 9 out of 10 times it's not. And I have a lot of people telling me, and I heard your voice like telling me, taking a step back. Yes, that's my job as a therapist. So the 50 minutes we spent together, like the real therapy happened the other 6 days and 10 minutes. You are not with me. My goal as a therapist for you is to get you the fuck out of my office as soon as you walk in. That means that I gave you the tools and now you are in the world using them. So that's my perspective on therapy. And that's why my ideal client is a highly motivated adult who wants to get better. I don't have time to be cuddling you into like, oh, well, when you are ready, wait. No, bitch, you fucking call me when you're ready. Like, I don't have time. Life is too fucking short. And I clients thinking that they are ready and then they quickly realize they're not. Because we're going to hit the ground running. You're going to find out really quick that, oh shit, like this bitch is serious. But it's your money, it's your time. Like, if I give you homework, I use a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy, so it involves a lot of homework, right? And I'll give you homework to take a deep breath and use a grounding technique, for example, right? You're anxious. I'm like, okay, take a deep breath and use a grounding technique. And you come back next week and you're anxious and said, did you remember to take a deep breath and use a grounding technique? No. Guess what the fuck the homework for this week is going to be? Because you didn't use it. So if you don't fucking use it, how is that going to help you? So quickly, people understand that, oh shit, you have to do your part. Like, I do my own fucking work with my therapist. Like, and then, oh, you have a therapist? Bitch, I'm fucking human too. Like, do you talk about me with your therapist? The last thing I talk about with my therapist is your fucking ass. Like, I have my own shit to talk with my therapist. You know, and then I'm talking to my therapist and she says the same shit. I'm telling my clients, I'm like, no, that's what I'm fucking teaching. And again, when you are in the picture, you cannot see the picture. So that's why I need that neutral person to help me with my own blind spots. Because like if I get angry, when we get angry about something, 9 out of 10 times it's because we're personalizing, right? Like I'm making about me and it may have nothing to do with me. You're an equally opportunity offender and I'm offended because you said something wrong. Bitch, you think you're special, you're no. Like I'm offending everybody. Like you're making about you. It's not about you, right? Like so when I get angry about something, I'm like, bitch, are you personalized? Right? Like, because I'm making it about me and it may have nothing to do with me. So it's like having my therapist guiding me through this thing when I'm angry for a longer period of time. So it's not that I'm not angry anymore. It's just that I don't stay angry as long. That is a sign of my healing. It's not that I'm not having the feeling, it's that I'm not staying in the feeling that long, right? Healing is kind of like a spiral, it's circular, right? Like, so you're going to hit the same spot as you are healing. But it's not about not having feelings. It's about realizing that, oh, this shit doesn't affect me as much as it used to. So that's what shows progress. We are looking for progress, not perfection, right? So it's like, oh, I went through a similar situation and I wasn't angry as much or as long. Okay, we're making progress. Maybe the next situation, you're going to be like, oh, this is not about me, and didn't even get to the anger part. But all these reactions are information. That's how I fucking talk to my clients, right? Like, I'm going to be like, bitch, shit, fuck, right? Like, so, and if you, like, you know, if you're a new client, I'll do a 15-minute consultation to see we're a good match. Shit and fuck is going to come out of my mouth. If you have a problem with that, I'm not the therapist for you. And it's okay. I will give you referrals, but I'm not going to sit in my own fucking office that I work so hard for. Be like, oh, God, that's not who I am. Don't have time. You don't even know if you're going to. Okay, so I deal with anxiety, right? Trauma, anxiety, and depression. And I had people who told me, like, I'm so anxious, what's going to happen next week? Bitch, you might die tonight. Don't fucking worry about next year. So take a deep breath, ground yourself, do research, and then you're not going to be as anxious about the meeting next week. But you not sleeping tonight, it ain't going to bring the meeting anytime sooner. So
No, that is.
Welcome to a session with Zulma.
No, I love how you mentioned and highlighted about like the partnership of it, even with the doctors, like working with them, you know, like it's your life, it's your body, it's your mind, even with the therapy, like, but working together, you know, like driving the car and navigating it, not by yourself or not just following what the therapist says or just following what the doctor says. Like, I think a lot of people, even medical wise, assume like, okay, the doctor said X, I've got to do X. Like, not necessarily, you know, it's not fucking true. Just because they went to medical school, they don't know, you know, like I hear so often, like on the podcast from guests saying to me, oh, the doctor didn't believe this, or the doctor thought this was like, you know how you feel. You know what I mean? Nobody else can tell you that. I don't care if you've been in medical school for 20 years.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for anybody looking to find a therapist, you are interviewing the therapist as much as the therapist is interviewing you. When we are having those 15-minute consultations, I'm trying to feel your vibe, blah, blah, blah. But you are also feeling my vibe. You don't have to go with me because we are having this fucking 15-minute consultation. You don't have to stay with me if we did the assessment and you're like, I don't feel it. Because 90% of the success of the therapeutic relationship is that we click, is that you trust me. If we don't click, you're not going to open up because I didn't earn your trust. And if you don't feel comfortable, you're not going to open up. And if you don't open up, we are not going to talk about what is important. And again, life is too fucking short. You don't have time to waste. So if you are not sure about how you feel about a therapist, give it a couple of sessions. But if by session number 3 or 4, you're still not feeling it, thank you. This is your fucking well-being we are talking about. So you start over as many times as you need until you find the right fit.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. You know, I facilitate breathwork, as I told you a little bit off air. And like I say all the time, like it's not therapy, but it's a therapeutic method. And I'm not for everybody either. Like, if my sessions, if the things I say, like, if I don't resonate with you, like, I'm not for everybody. That's okay. Like, even if you want to do breath work, like, I know plenty of people that facilitate it as well. Still believe in the power of breath work, still believe in you doing it. But maybe I'm not the person for you to do it with, you know? And I don't think enough people talk about that. So I appreciate you mentioning that, you know?
Because I want you to get better. So you want me to do breath work. It doesn't have to be with you. You're not the only one who fucking does it. And if it's not resonating with me, I'm going to feel so uncomfortable. Bitch, if I can go to Peter, and if you feel more comfortable with him, like, would you get into a fucking Uber when the driver is drunk? So, like, if you say, okay, fuck you the first time. But if you do it a couple of times and you still don't feel comfortable and you're not clicking with a professional, don't. I wish I had known this with that fucking surgeon, right? Because I wouldn't have gone back to him. But I know better now, so I do better now. Like, it's not about, like, why didn't I tell him to fuck off? Like, I just had a cancer diagnosis. I wasn't in the right state of mind. I didn't know better, but now I know better, so I do better. If you're a fucking asshole to me during our visit, I am fucking coming back to you. Fuck you. You're not the only doctor. Right? So it's like I need to feel comfortable, like not rush when I'm at the doctor's office. It's like, who the fuck am I going to ask a question to? You are my doctor, so I want you to answer my question, right? Like, and it might be stupid to you, but it might change my perspective on a certain thing, because if I had the fucking answer, I wouldn't be here. I fucking go to Google, Google University and get my own answers, right? Like, so, and that's another thing I want to say. When I say do your research, inform yourself, and don't take Google University doesn't replace your doctor, right? Like, so use it to ask questions that will clarify your situation, but still go to the doctor and ask what the best course of treatment will be.
I get that. The internet's not going to tell you everything, and it's not going to replace your doctor, but it'll give you information, and do your research, and also go by how you feel. Like, your body tells us a lot of things. Listen to it and communicate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you speaking with me.
So much fun. And it's been an honor being here. So thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, of course. I could talk to you for a while. Have you heard of a man named Jay Shetty?
Yes. Oh my God, I love him.
Me too. Wish he wasn't married. Anyways, he ends his podcast with two segments that I really like. And I end my podcast with both those segments as well.
Okay.
The first segment is the many sides to us. And there's 5 questions, and they need to be answered in 1 word each.
Oh, shit. Okay.
What is 1 word someone who was meeting you for the first time would use to describe you as?
Funny.
What is 1 word someone who knows you extremely well would use to describe you as?
Loyal.
What is 1 word you'd use to describe yourself?
Warrior.
What is 1 word that if someone didn't like you or agree with your mindset would use to describe you as?
Conceited.
What is 1 word that you're trying to embody right now?
Hope.
Second segment is the final 5, and these can be answered in a sentence. What is the best advice you've heard or received?
You are doing better than you think you are.
Why is that the best?
Because I couldn't see the progress that I was making, and I wasn't giving myself enough credit.
What is the worst advice you've heard or received?
Don't try it.
What is something that you used to value that you no longer value?
Other people's approval.
If you could describe what you would want your legacy to be, as if someone was reading it, what would you want it to say?
That everybody has within themselves the power to keep moving forward. So just keep putting one foot in front of the other.
If you could create one law in the world that everyone had to follow, what would it be? And I want to know why.
Follow your heart, because it will take you places outside of your wildest dreams.
Thank you so much for speaking with me, Zulma.
Thank you for having me. It's been such a pleasure. And I want everybody to know that if you woke up today, that means that your mission in life is not complete. So keep pushing through. You have 100% track record of being successful, of overcoming any challenges that you face in your life. How do I know? Because you're here. So this challenge is not going to be any different. Keep pushing through one day at a time. Thank you for having me.
I love that. Thank you so much, Zulma. I really appreciate it. And where's the best place for listeners to connect with you?
My Instagram at the Shortening Therapist. And also I started my own podcast. It's called Keeping It Real with Zulma, the Shortening Therapist.
I will link that in the show notes. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you guys for tuning in to Amanda's Mindset. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to that powerful conversation with Zulma. I hope it was as inspiring for you as it was for me to have that conversation with Zulma. A few reflections that really stood out to me that I want to leave you guys with to reflect on. First of all, resilience is built. It's not something you're born with. Zulma's story of starting over in a new country at 31 years old and then launching a new career in her 40s reminds us that it's never too late. You can rewrite your story at any point. It takes guts, but the life you want is worth building, one step at a time. Another powerful takeaway that Zulma talked about is that you are allowed to question authority, whether it's a doctor, therapist, or anybody in any prestige position with some sort of authority. You have the right to advocate for yourself and to question things that they say, things that they tell you. Zulma's cancer journey showed how important it is to ask questions, seek second opinions, and to trust your intuition. Our bodies will tell us things. It will give us signs. Next, healing doesn't mean perfection. It means progress. I love how Zulma talked about not staying in emotions as long or learning to respond differently over time. That's real growth. Zulma also emphasized that therapy isn't about getting told what to do. Therapy is about discovering your own answers. I loved her metaphor of being the GPS. You are still the one driving the car. Lastly, Zulma is the swearing therapist, but swear words or not, we need more realness and more genuine authenticity in these energetic healing spaces. Zulma shows up unapologetically herself. And that authenticity is exactly what some people need in order to feel safe and seen. Showing up unapologetically, authentically ourselves allows other people to feel safe, to feel comfortable showing up unapologetically as themselves. I hope this episode resonated with you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this episode of Mander's Mindset. Keep breathing, keep shifting, and remember, everything is figure-outable. In case no one told you today, I'm proud of you, I'm rooting for you, and you got this. As always, if you enjoyed the show, I would really appreciate it if you would leave me a 5-star rating, leave a review, and share it with anyone you think would benefit from this. And don't forget, you are only one mindset shift away from shifting your life. Thanks, guys. Until next time.